Welcome back to another reading and correcting with me, Kindar, the Tiger Writes, and Ty, the Tiger Supervisor. These are where I read a chapter from one of my stories and correct it as I go. If you want to listen to these live, it's every Tuesday morning, 8 a.m. Eastern Time on Twitch. Twitch and YouTube. Links are in the notes. Alrighty. Today we are doing chapter 41 of The Captain's Heart. With a grunt, Gralgiran thrust and Tom held him in place with legs and arms until he was done, and went limp over him. Tom chuckled, rubbed his muzzle against an ear. Someone's worked up. The ear folded back. Sorry, he said in his friend's neck fur. You're the closest. No, you were. You were the closest. Tom laughed. I'm not complaining. Quite enjoyed it, actually. But you don't often let yourself reach that point. There are clubs, you know. His voice softened. Is this about your heart? He ran off. And that made you horny? The chuckle had Gralgiran glare at his friend, then realized that without the context, we were in bed. We were in bed, snuggling, bare-chested. Is that unusual for him? Remember, I didn't get to meet your heart. His people did. He isn't comfortable exposing himself around me. The first time he had to put effort into taking off his shirt. This time it was easier, and we held each other. He fell asleep the way he smells. Gralgiran smiled at the memory. He woke as I nuzzled him. He pressed into me. His ears folded back, and he couldn't tell his friend about the kiss. The alienness of someone's tongue in his muzzle, of tasting the inside of Jeremy's muzzle. How thrilling it was. I thought he was ready for us to make love, so he rested his head on Tom's chest and sighed. He freaked out about the time, said he needed to sleep in for his next work shift. I offered he sleep here, and he ran off. Gralgiran nodded. Maybe it was for the best? I wasn't going to force myself on him, he protested. But how comfortably would you have slept? He snorted. This is your sleep shift. I'm on first shift. I just wanted to keep holding him. He will come back, won't he? I want him here now, he whined. And yes, I know I sound like a cub infatuated for the first time. He was right there, and now he's gone. It won't be the same thing, Growl, but if you want to stay, you can hold me while I go back to sleep. Well, after cleaning up. You need to move before it dries, as we end up pulling fur out. He pulled out gently and rolled onto his back. Are you that afraid? I don't know how to do this, Tom. If he was one of us, I wouldn't have to think about every move. We'd be in sync. We would both want each other. He doesn't want you? He does, but I can't generalize off of him. When you meet him, I'll see if he can tell you what happened so you'll understand. I'm just afraid of what it means that he prefers going back to that place instead of spending more time with his heart. Ask him when he comes back. He fought against the if that flashed into his mind. If he came back. What if his people hurt him? What if the people hurting him realized he had a jammer and changed the frequency? He'd ask Zorfiel about the device when Querigral had her make it. Because of its small size, she couldn't give it the ability to detect the frequency used and then change what it counteracted. What he needed was a stronger version. That he needed a stronger version implied those hurting him realized he had protection. How long until they decided strength wasn't the solution? Maybe they'd already decided that. You're being too quiet. I'm sorry. I should let you sleep. I won't be able to relax until he's back, where I know he's safe. Tom paused in the process of standing. Why wouldn't he be safe among his people? Gralgiran cursed quietly. I shouldn't have said anything. It's not for me to reveal that. Tom stopped him from reaching for his pants. At least come wash off. You might be the captain, but I know you like presenting a more professional image than I've just had sex with my friends. Aren't you all jealous? He chuckled. If anyone expresses jealousy, I'll just tell them where your quarters are. And that's another reason you're cleaning up. I need my sleep. I have um, combat piloting. Combat piloting exercise next shift. The bridge was quiet. Most people set their sleep around last shift, so it made it one where, for those who had to work because some positions needed to be occupied at all times, little happened. It meant those locations, such as the bridge, were either livelier than they should or, as was the case now, relaxed enough the hunter at calm seemed to be sleeping. The one at censor noticed Gralgiran and let out a series of whistles as he straightened. The others reacted, and they looked as alert as any other shift. He hadn't recognized the whistle code, so it was a personal one for this group. Anything to report? No, Alpha, the one at com replied. It's last shift on Station 2. Theirs going to end in an hour before ours today, the pilot said. Any progress on the hunt? They exchanged a look, and the ear code amounted to, is he serious? He chuckled, and they stiffened. Just give me an update. Same as last shift, the hunter at sensor said, which was the same as the shift before that, the one at comms said, which was the same as the one before that, and so on. Until we're allowed sharper claws, I don't think we'll learn anything new. He nodded. As she said, this was what had been reported for days now. He'd have to decide on what to report to the Federation Security Council soon, and if he wanted to word it in such a way they would authorize revealing what he'd been sent to do, or just the facts, and have them instruct him to return to the Federation territory. Soon, but not now. He had a few days before they contacted him asking for a report. He stepped into his office, and his desk activated as he sat showing him already completed reports. The main reason he slept during first shift was that it meant he could deal with the bureaucracy of running a ship when nothing happened. Unfortunately, for this moment, being a dock for so long, with an investigation at a standstill, meant he'd already caught up on the administration he needed to do. He brought up the feed from the promenade. Only 2 stores were lit, and the overall light had been dimmed to that of early evening. He shifted through other public feeds and came across a leisure alley where a party was underway. He chuckled and moved on. Joining them was tempting, but he doubted that a party thrown together during last shift would be eager to have the captain drop by. By the time he washed and altered his appearance enough not to be recognized on sight, it'd be first shift. The cells showed him Xenial Air Tahalan, along with 2 other occupied cells. The quartermaster had thrown the covers nearly entirely off, leaving the blanket hooked on his foot. He considered authorizing his release. He had been behaving for the last days, but he worried what he might get up to while they were at station. Unless their stay stretched well beyond what Gralgiran expected, the male would stay in his cell. He brought up the feed of the ship's access and rewound it to when Jeremy left. He'd hurried out without addressing the hunter on duty. He usually greeted them on arrival, and when he left, they reported. Staying with him during the last shift had clearly disturbed him. Gralgiran shut down the system with a sigh and returned to his room. He'd watch ballads to pass the... This is not capitalized. He'd watch ballads to pass the time and breathe in Jeremy's scent. And that concludes chapter 41 of The Captain's Heart. If you are enjoying this, please leave a like. If you want to know when the next chapter is going to be up, subscribe and hit the bell. If you want to read this story, it is up on Ream Story. If you want to listen to these live, it's every Tuesday morning, 8 a.m. Eastern Time on Twitch and YouTube. Links are in the notes, and with that, I shall wish you a good day.